And if I don't announce to you that I'm recording, or if you don't see the little thing flash, this meeting is being recorded at the beginning of our class each time, remind me. Because sometimes I can tend to forget to hit the little record button. So if you don't hear me announce that I'm recording, then it's probably because I'm not. And then you want to remind me, hey, you need to record the meeting. Because in case you want to go back and rewatch and listen to our lecture, or if you can't attend lecture, then you can always view the recording. And so I've got a few people that have asked for access to our meeting. So I'm going to go ahead and let those people in the meeting room. Give me 1 second here. And so today, our goal is not to start chapter 1 today, but our goal is to kind of get acclimated to the course, for me to answer any questions that you have about the course, kind of show you some important things on our eLearn site, and some things that you should either have done already or should do as soon as possible after our class meeting. So before I go into our eLearn content, let me just first introduce myself. I am Dr. Karma Cook. You can call me Dr. Cook, or you can call me Miss Cook. That's Miss, not Mrs. You can just call me Miss Cook if you like. And just to give you a little bit of information about me, this is my 3rd academic year teaching at Chat State. And I've taught CHEM 1010, the course that you're taking, and which is Introductory Chemistry 1. I've also taught General Chemistry 1 and labs, and General Chemistry 2 and labs as well. Introductory Chemistry is a course that really introduces you to the concepts of chemistry, and it goes a little bit beyond what you may have learned in a high school chemistry course, but it definitely uses the concepts that you've learned already if you took a high school chemistry course. But taking a high school chemistry course was not required for you to be in this course. But if you did take a high school chemistry course, you'll be refreshed of the things that you did learn in that high school chemistry course. But if you didn't take a high school chemistry course, that's not a big deal or a big factor. You should still be successful in this course. I've taught many students in this class who didn't take high school chemistry that made an A in this course. Okay, so if you haven't had chemistry before, don't worry, you'll be fine. This is an introductory chemistry course, and it's designed for students whether or not they've taken high school chemistry. So let's first go through our course eLearn site. I apologize. I have my work phone calls from my work office on campus transferred here, and so I forgot to turn that ringer off. So it'll stop ringing after about 4 rings. I do apologize. And so just a little bit about my background. If you go to the course content tab and go to introduction, you'll get some introductory information about chemistry. You can also go to the overview tab and you'll get an overview of the course, plus there'll be a copy of the course schedule on what I call the first day handout. And then you also want to go to the Getting Started module. Here you'll find a message, instructor information, the syllabus, and then that same spring 2021 handout with the course schedule, and then organization, expectations, and requirements. So the first things that you'll want to go through, if you haven't already, is the news section of the homepage. There are several news items here with very helpful information, including how to register with McGraw-Hill Connect. So if you haven't read already, the welcome message, course information, these are just links to the syllabus and the Spring 21 handout and course schedule that are under the Getting Started module. And then registration with McGraw-Hill Connect. You've paid tuition for this course, and that automatically gives you access to the electronic textbook, as well as access to your homework, quizzes, and exams for the course. Now, if you want a paper copy of the textbook, in addition to the electronic resources that you already have paid for, then you can go to the bookstore and purchase a paper copy of the textbook, but you don't need to do that, only if you desire an actual physical copy of the textbook that you can put your hands on. But the electronic textbook and the electronic access to all the homework, quizzes, tests, exams, you already have access to all of that now by paying your tuition for this course, okay? So, but you do need to register with McGraw-Hill Connect. And so to register, just follow this link here in this news item. If you have any trouble registering, there's a link for you to go to technical support, and they'll give you some online chat technical support and helping you solve whatever issue there is with you registering for the course. So check out that news item for registering with McGraw-Hill Connect. Again, you'll be taking all of your assignments online. You'll be doing all of your tests online. You do not have to come to campus to get your tests done in a proctored environment. You're taking all of your quizzes and all of your tests at home, online, on your honor, that you're only using notes and resources from class or other online resources to assist you in taking the quizzes and tests. So yes, the test, you can use your notes from class and your practice problems that we work in class. You can use the internet, any online resources, but you can't use another person to complete your test, okay? So one thing about the tests and quizzes is that they are timed. You have a time limit in which you must complete a quiz or a test once you click that start button. So you don't want to waste a whole lot of time looking for things. So you've got to come to prepared before you take each quiz and each test online. You've got to be prepared. You've got to be organized, have your notes all organized. So if you do need to look something up, you can do so quickly because you've got all of your notes from every chapter and you've got all your classwork from every chapter neatly in a 3-ring binder. That's what I suggest. Using the little colored separator tabs and dividers, or colored sticky notes, or colored little sticky flags, or whatever other little methods that you may use to keep yourself organized, then I suggest that you do that, to have your notes all in one place, organized in a 3-ring binder. Therefore, because the tests are open notes, you've got your notes there with you in an organized fashion, okay? So remember, you don't have to come to campus to take tests. You do those at home, online, in Connect. And then I've got other news items here, like a link to the math review videos, instructor information, my schedule for the semester. And then eLearn in the news section only shows about the first 5 or 6 emails. So if you want to see, news items. So if you want to see all the news items, just click on Show All News Items. And then you'll see all of the news items, not just the first 6. So the next news item, organization, make sure you read through this because it tells you what you can expect and what's expected of you. Expectations and requirements. Make sure you read those 2 sections. And so that's where you'll find news items. I usually post at least one news item a week. Of course, this is the first week, so I've got several news items already posted. But as we go forward, I'm going to post at least one or two new news items each week. So make sure that you're checking out the news section. Also, I do believe that eLearn notifies you. You have this little bell here up top. If you click on that, it gives you your notifications. Like if I've graded an assignment for you, you know, if your chapter 1 test score is now in the grade book, if I've posted a new news item, if I've updated chapter 4 notes, you know, if I've made some changes to chapter 4 notes after I already posted them in the course content tab. And so you'll see a notification that this document has been modified. And so therefore, if you need to re-download, and I'll give you specific details, you know, I've changed page 4 of chapter 4 notes part 1. You know, you may want to re-download that page of the notes. So if I make any changes to anything that's in the course, you'll be sent a notification. And this little bell here on the eLearn homepage up top, that's where notifications. Okay. See here, I posted a news item to the lab eLearn site. I've got a notification of that. So I've got all these notifications. And so that's where you can find any notifications of updates about the class. There, the little envelope link is a link to eLearn email. You want to check your eLearn email often. And I do believe if you get a new eLearn message, you'll get a notification of that as well. So make sure you're checking the course homepage often in the news section. Check your notifications, check your email at least a couple of times a week. And then the course calendar is also a very important part of the homepage. Your due dates for upcoming assignments will always be found in the calendar. So check the calendar weekly to make sure you know when something is coming up due and that you don't miss the due date. Now going back to the course content tab, the modules that you want to go through before you start chapter 1, the overview tab, the getting started module tab, and the introduction. So once you've gone through the information under those modules, then you go to chapter 1. And I'm going to try to be consistent with each chapter and have each chapter set up in a similar format. And so you can see how I've set up chapter 1. Chapter 1's topic is portable electronics, the periodic table in the palm of your hands. Then I always give a little introduction to the chapter here. And then you'll find the notes for that chapter, as well as the videos for the chapter that you need to watch before each class meeting. And then also classwork, which I also call practice work. Classwork is practice work, meaning you don't have to turn it in for a grade. It's to get you ready to take your quizzes and to take your exams, okay? And so what you want to do before each class meeting is go and see what video that you need to watch before that particular class. So for today's class, I asked that you watch a few videos from the math review video section on scientific notation, using a scientific calculator and significant figures. Before Monday's class, you would need to watch chapter 1 video part 1. And before next Wednesday's class, watch part 2 video for chapter 1. So I'll try to be consistent with our course content for each chapter. I'll try to make sure that for the videos, I'll let you know you need to watch this video before this date, and so on and so forth, to keep you organized. So in addition to the videos, you also have your lecture notes that go along with the videos. So before you watch the videos, make sure you download the notes. And I'll be presenting these notes in the lecture videos. So therefore, when you're watching the videos, have your notes downloaded. And that way, if you want to add some notes to the existing notes, you'll be ready to do that because you've got those notes downloaded and printed and in your 3-ring binder. So I'll be presenting the notes, explaining the concepts, working practice problems. And so after you've watched that video and you've gone through the notes while watching the video, then you're ready to come to class. And so when you come to class, not only do you want to make sure you've got your notes that you've already annotated while watching the videos, but you also want to bring your classwork problem set. So for Monday's class, you'll want to bring not only your Chapter 1, Part 1 notes, but you'll also want to bring your math review handout that I've given you. And there are some practice problems on the math review. And then you'll also want to bring that classwork Part 1 for Monday. And those questions for the classwork for Part 1 coincide with the lecture video for Part 1. And so we'll work these problems in class on Monday together. I'm going to send you to different breakout rooms. And these different breakout rooms, you'll work with a group of your classmates. I'm going to do, I think we have 36 people in our class. And so I'm going to do 9 breakout rooms, 4 people per breakout room. And I'm going to randomly assign you to a breakout room each class day, so that way you get to work with different people. But if you come to me and you both mutually say, hey, we really like working together, we want to be in the same group every day, then of course I can put you in one specific group with either one specific person in that group along with a couple of other people. Or if you find a group of 3 people that you absolutely love working with and you say, hey, we want us 4 people, we want to be a group every single day in class, we can do that as well. And so therefore, in the first class meetings, I kind of let everyone just kind of freelance, skip you around, put you in a different group each day. But if you come to me and say, hey, I want to work with these 3 people in the breakout rooms every single class day, I'll be more than happy to do that. So you let me know that. Or if there's just one particular person that you want to be in your group with you every single time, if you both agree on that, or if all 4 of you agree on, hey, we want to start a group together, then I'll be more than happy to make you a group, and you can stay in that same group for the entire semester. Okay? So to be ready for Monday's class, what do you need to do? You need to watch the math review videos on significant figures, scientific notation, and using a scientific calculator if you didn't do so already. I asked you to do that before this class, but if you didn't do so, that's okay. You can do that before Monday. And then watch the Chapter 1, Part 1 video. And in doing that, download your math review classwork and your Chapter 1, Part 1 classwork, and then bring those to class, and then you're ready for class on Monday. Okay? And then we'll follow that same ritual before each class day. There's going to be a video that you'll need to watch. There'll be notes that you need to download while and fill in as you're watching the video. Then you'll bring that material to class along with the classwork problem set. You're ready for class. You're ready to work problems with your group in the breakout rooms. And I'm going to, the way I divide up the classwork problems, let's just go to classwork for Chapter 1, Part 1. I'll assign 1 or 2 problems for you to go into the breakout rooms to work with your class at a time. I won't assign the entire classwork problem set at once. We'll go on a topic by topic basis. For example, for classwork for Chapter 1, Part 1, the first question deals with classifying matter as either an element, compound, or mixture. So I'll probably let you do that problem first in your breakout room with your group. Then I'll say, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to complete problem 1. When you do so, come back to the general room. We'll discuss the problem and see if we all have the same answers and if there's a question about one of the parts of, if you have a question about part B, what is baking powder? Is it an element? Is it a compound or a mixture? I wasn't sure about that one. Can you explain that one a little bit more? Things of that nature. So after we finish a problem or two in our breakout room, we'll come back to the general room and we'll discuss that problem as a class and see that everyone get the same answer. Okay, you didn't get that answer that group 2 got. Okay, what did you get? Well, then who's right, who's wrong, and why? And so we'll discuss each problem, answer any questions that you may have about that problem or problems, and then we'll move on to the next problem or two. So that's how we'll conduct the breakout rooms. We'll do 1 or 2 problems with our group, then we'll come back to the general room and we'll discuss that problem or problems together, and then we'll move on to the next problem. And then problem 2, calculating atomic percentages. That's a specific concept. So I'll talk about that concept first, give you a little bit more instruction in addition to what you've already watched in the video, and then I'll send you to the breakout group rooms again, and you'll work problem 2 together. I'll say, okay, you got 10 minutes to do this problem, then we'll come back. So that's how we'll conduct class every day. I'll introduce what we're doing today, talk about some concepts, and then I'll send you to the breakout room to work 1 problem or 2 problems, or whatever the case may be, that deals with that specific concept. And then we'll come back to the general room, discuss that problem or problems, and then we'll move on to the next concept. Okay, any questions so far? If you have any questions as I'm going through everything, go to the chat. You can see at the very top of your screen, there's a tab that has like 2 people. If you click on that one, they'll show you who all's in class today. And then there's the little chat symbol, show conversation. You can go there and type in a question. As I'm going through things here, if you have a question about something that I've said, just type a question there. And I'll stop every now and then and go through any questions that are in the chat box. I'm going to pause here for a second. Hold on. For the interruption. That's the thing about being at home. That was the UPS man. I'm sorry. I had a knock on the door. And so just to go over a couple of questions before I move on, do you need to print out all of the handouts for this class? No, you don't have to. You can save a tree. If you have an iPad, you can download this program that I use called Notability. And Notability allows you to download your documents, like I've downloaded our math review handout, and you can write directly on the handout if you've got an iPad with an iPencil. So that will allow you to save the time and effort of having to print out each document for class. If you have an iPad or other tablet that allow you to download an app like Notability or any other app that allows you to write on documents, if you have an iPad, or if you have one of the Samsung phones that have the Samsung Note phone that has that same function that allows you to download files and you can write on them directly, then no, if you have something of that nature at your disposal, then no, you don't have to print out documents. You can save a tree and not have to worry about all that paper and keep all your notes electronically on your tablet or your iPad. Okay, so whatever method of staying organized and having your documents that you need for class and lab, because you're going to have handouts each week for lab to do your lab reports. You're going to have a lab report form that you've got to fill out every week for lab. So if printing them out is your only option, then yes. But if you have other options like downloading them just electronically and filling them out electronically, then absolutely, by all means, do that and save a tree. Okay. Did that answer your question, Juwani?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. But yes, you need access to all the documents in this class. But do you actually have to print them out? No, not if you have another way to fill in, especially your lab stuff. Your lecture handouts, you can get away with just downloading them on your computer. And then if you download them in Word, then you can just type to add additional notes and type answers to questions as we go through the classwork. But especially when we're working complicated math application problems, you probably want to have that document printed out on paper so that you can do the calculation. Or if you got an iPad and a notability type app, then you don't have to print out anything if you don't want to. You can just annotate your documents using your iPad pencil. Okay. Next question by Frederick. If we have used McGraw-Hill Connect for a different class in the past, do we need to still register for this course? Absolutely. If you don't register for the course, then I'll never get your grades to appear in the eLearn gradebook. So yes, even if you've had a past experience with McGraw-Hill Connect, I think a lot of different departments at Chat State uses McGraw-Hill Connect in addition to introductory chemistry by the chemistry department. But yes, you still need to register as a student for this particular course in McGraw-Hill. That way, your grades will automatically download to the eLearn gradebook. Okay? Did that answer your question, Frederick?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome. Eliza, did I pronounce you correct, or is it Eliza?
It's Eliza.
Eliza, I love it. So
Thank you.
watching the math review video and the chapter 1, part 1 by Monday, that is correct. For the math review videos, the only ones you have to watch right now are the ones dealing with significant figures, scientific notation, and using a scientific calculator. The other videos that are in the math review video section, I'll be referring to those later on in the semester when we get to chapters 2 and 3. And I'll say, okay, go back and watch the math review videos on unit conversions, or watch the videos and calculating density. I'll let you know when I want you to watch any other math videos. But for right now, this week, getting ready for Monday's class, just watch the videos on significant figures, scientific notation, and using a scientific calculator. Okay? Is that good, Eliza?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Laura's question. So before each class, we take notes while we watch the pre-lecture video and then come to class with it. Absolutely, Laura. You can see with most of my note packets, like with the math review note packet, I've got a lot of notes already in there. You may just want to make some personal notes. Okay. And so like the chapter 1, part 1 notes. And so you may want to make some additional notes. Okay. So see how I've annotated my chapter 1 notes, part 1. You may want to write in this information on your notes as you're watching the video. And so therefore, the notes are pretty complete as they are, but you may want to add some notes because I may say some things in the video that I don't have already written on the notes. So you may want to add some additional notes. So that's why if you don't have an iPad with an app like Notability so that you can write directly on your notes, then you may want to download and print all of them before you start watching the video so that you can add additional notes to the existing notes. Great question. And then once you watch the video for that class day, you've got your notes all finished, then yes, you bring those notes to class because as you're working the classwork problems, you may need to refer back to those notes. Okay. So do you have to pay for McGraw-Hill? With your tuition, you should already be able to access all of the features, the electronic textbook, the homework, quizzes, and tests. All you have to do is register. Once you register, then you should be in without being asked to pay any more money. Okay? So by paying for the course, you've got access to the electronic resources. Now, if you just want to have a paper copy of the textbook that you can touch and have in your hand, some people do. I know I was that type of student, and I'm that type of professor now. I have a paper copy of the textbook. Sometimes I just like to get the textbook out and just go through it and touch it with my hands versus using the ebook. So I'm like that. I'm old school. I like having the option of having the paper textbook as well as the ebook. But you don't have to go to the bookstore and spend more money on the paper textbook, only if you want to. Okay? But you've already paid for McGraw-Hill Connect when you paid tuition. Okay, I think I've answered all the questions so far. If you come up with any other questions, again, just type them in the chat box, or you can turn on your mic and interrupt me at any time. I don't mind, okay? So we've kind of gone through the course content tab. This is where you're going to find all your chapter notes, all your chapter class videos, all your classwork. In addition to those things, I'll also post study guides for exams, like the first chapter exam covers chapters 1 and 2. So I've got a little study guide in there of what you should focus on to get ready for that test. And then your homework and your quizzes, you have to take those in Connect, but you don't have to log into Connect directly to access your homework, your quizzes, and your tests. So if you're ready to do your chapter 1 homework, click on chapter 1 in the table of contents. And you've got all of your content, your notes, your videos are shown here. Also, what I've got in some of the chapters are some little non-graded activities. These are just some activities to help you learn and repetitious type of learning for different concepts. So here we've got an activity for element names and symbols and calculating percent composition, compound identification, physical versus chemical changes, understanding the atom. So these little activities are just extra learning tools, and they are not graded. You don't have to do them, but the activities will help reinforce certain concepts. So you'll find all of that under each chapter. And in addition, there's also a sub-tab for each chapter for the homework and quizzes. And these provide links to Connect. So to do chapter 1 homework, I don't have to log in to Connect. All I've got to do is be in eLearn, go to chapter 1 homework and quizzes, click on chapter 1 homework, and it's going to take me directly to McGraw-Hill Connect. And I've got a student that's already submitted chapter 1 homework. I'm impressed. And so that's how you can access your homework and quizzes for each chapter directly through eLearn links without having to log in to McGraw-Hill Connect. So it's time for you to take the first chapter exam. Where do you find it? So again, it's going to be found in eLearn. So you go to your course content tab, your table of contents. You're going to have to scroll all the way down to tests. Click on tests. And there are all the tests for this course. Click on first chapter exam and click launch, and you'll be taken to McGraw-Hill to take that first chapter exam. So all the links you need to access McGraw-Hill Connect homework, quizzes, and tests. You can find those under the course content tab in eLearn by scrolling down and clicking on tests. So we've gone on over the course content tab. And so under the Getting Started module, that's one of the things you need to do before starting Chapter 1. Before starting Chapter 1, read through all the news items. Once you do that, go to Course Content, go through the overview, go through all the items on the Getting Started module and the Introduction module. Then you're ready to start Chapter 1. Under the Getting Started module is where you can find the course syllabus. So the course syllabus gives you an overview of important pertinent information for the course. It tells you the topics that we're studying, the course requirements, your textbook, supplementary materials that you'll need, hardware and software requirements for taking this class in a virtual, synchronous, online, at-home type setting. And then some resources. Chat State will provide you with Adobe Reader, Microsoft Office. If you don't have those things already on your device, well, then you can get free access to those. And the links are shown here to Adobe Reader, Open Office, so on and so forth. If you need some assistance in writing, some of your lab reports will require you to write essay questions, answers to essay questions. And so if you just need some help with writing, there are some writing resources here. And so instructor information is found under the Getting Started module, same as the syllabus. It tells you the grade breakdown by percentage. To get an A, you have to have 90% or greater. To pass the course with a D, you have to have 65 to 69.99%. So on and so forth. The next table tells you how your grade will be broken down. Your grade will be composed of homework, quizzes, a lab component. There'll be chapter tests. There will be a midterm and there will be a final. So this table shows you how much each weighs as far as percentage of your final grade. You're going to have 7 chapters that you'll cover this semester. And so therefore there are 7 homework assignments. The lowest homework will be dropped. So only your top 6 homework scores will count towards your grade. So you can miss or not do so well on one homework assignment and it will not hurt you. You have 2 quizzes per 7 chapters, so a total of 14 quizzes. Only the best 12 will be counted towards your grade. The lowest 2 will be dropped. Homework counts 5% of your total grade. The quizzes count 10%. And then, of course, there are chapter tests. We're going to have 3 chapter tests. We're going to have a test that covers chapters 1 and 2. We're going to have another chapter test that covers chapters 4 and 5. And we're going to have another chapter test that covers chapters 6 and 7. These chapter tests are going to count 30% of your total grade. If you don't do so well on one of them, your final grade, your final exam grade can replace a low chapter test. Now your midterm will count 10% of your grade. The midterm is going to cover chapters 1, 2, and 3. And then there's the lab component. You have to be registered for a separate lab section in addition to your lecture section. And your lab section will, you may, of course, have a different lab instructor than your lecture instructor. I am teaching 2 sections of the lab, today's lab at 2 o'clock and tomorrow's lab at 2 o'clock. Your lab component counts for 25% of your total final overall grade. So sum all those percentages up, you get 100%. And so the next section tells you about your assignments, about the pre-class lecture videos and notes, your homework, assignments, quizzes, your experiments that you'll have to do for your lab component. We originally were going to have 14 experiments, but I think we've cut it down to 13. So I'll make sure I modify that in the syllabus to 13. And so classroom participation is expected. You're expected to attend class, and you're expected to participate in problem solving with your groups in your breakout room. And you are expected to be actively participating when you are in that breakout room, okay? And late policy, I will give extensions to complete a homework or quiz assignment under extenuating circumstances, but ask me for that extension prior to the due date or on the due date. So if there's you've got quizzes for chapter 1 and homework for chapter 1 due on January 31st, and on January 31st you start feeling sick and you don't think you're going to be able to finish, then send me an email and let me know that you need an extension, you're not feeling well, and I'll give you an extension. But please give me that notice prior to the due date, or at latest on the due date, not after the due date, okay? And there's some flexibility if you need 2 extra days to complete a homework or a quiz, or if you think you've got the flu and you're gonna be sick for a few days, if you need me to give you up to a week to complete a homework or a quiz, I can grant you up to a week. But do know that you'll probably be cutting into the next chapter, and you've got that next chapter work that's going to be coming up due very soon as well. So you want to finish a late assignment, even though I may give you up to 7 days to complete a late assignment. If you can get it done before those 7 days expire so you can move on to the next chapter, I highly recommend it. As far as exams, there are no makeups for the exams. And so therefore, if you miss an exam, then you'll have to use your final exam to make up for that missed exam. Therefore, you don't want to miss any more than one exam, because the only way to make up that missed exam is your final exam score, okay? Midterms and final exams, there are no makeups, no replacements. They have to be taken before the due date. Now, for your midterm exam, as well as your chapter exams, and even the final exam, I'm going to give you a window of time in which you can complete it. So like for the first chapter exam, if we take a look at our course schedule here, so I have the first chapter exam, exam 1, covering chapters 1 and 2. I have it due the week of February 15th. So therefore, if I have that exam scheduled to be due on February 15th, I'm probably going to be opening that exam like on February 12th. So if you want to take the exam, the first chapter exam, on February 12th, you can. Or if you want to take it on February 13th or February 14th, you can. But the absolute last day that you can take it is February 15th, and it has to be finished by 11:59 p.m. So you don't want to start it on 11:59 p.m. you want to start it by 10:30 because each of your exams you have 1 hour to complete unless you have other accommodations that have been approved by Chat State. So if the deadline for the exam is 11:59 p.m., well, you want to get started on it before 11 o'clock, a little bit before 11 o'clock, so you get the full hour because the exam closes at 11:59 p.m. So if you don't start taking the exam till 11:30, well, you've got only 29 minutes to take an exam instead of the entire 60 minutes, okay? So when we say this is the deadline, 11:59 p.m. on February 15th, that's when the exam closes. You shouldn't be starting the exam at 11:59 p.m. That means you only have 1 minute to do the exam, okay? Does everyone understand that? Any questions about that? Okay. So always check the calendar often, at least on a weekly basis. Check the calendar and say, okay, do I have anything due this week? All of your homeworks, quizzes, and tests that are coming up due, you can find those due dates on the calendar that's on the eLearn homepage for the lecture. Now, the due dates for lab experiments, you'll find those on the lab eLearn site, which we'll go to in a minute. I'm not going to elaborate a whole lot on the lab eLearn site because your lab instructor will do that. And so just another thing or two that's on the syllabus, all of the communications that you send to me, send through email, and I prefer the eLearn email versus the Microsoft Outlook chatstate.edu email. But if there's something wrong with eLearn, if eLearn's down or something of that nature, then of course, send me an email through my karma.cook@chattanoogastate.edu email address. But if eLearn's up and running, send me the email through eLearn. I check my email eLearn on a daily basis, Monday through Friday. If you send me an email Monday through Friday, you'll get a response within 24 hours. If you send me an email on Saturday night, you may get a response by Sunday evening, or you may not get a response until first thing Monday morning, okay? So on the weekend, I reserve the right to have a 48-hour window if you send an email over the weekend. But if you send me an email Monday through Friday, you'll get a response within 24 hours. And so that's how I prefer you communicate with me is through eLearn email, but you can send me an email through the chattanoogastate.edu email as well. And so if I need to make any changes to the syllabus, I'll make sure I notify you of any change and let you know what the change is. So you can find the syllabus under the Getting Started module. Okay. And then of course the handout for spring 2021 and the course schedule can be found also under the Getting Started module. And we're going to try to follow this course schedule as closely as possible. If one chapter takes a little bit more time than I anticipated, then we'll juggle around the dates. If I need to modify the due date for any Connect assignments, I'll let you know in advance. I'll never move it to an earlier due date. If I change a due date on assignment, it's me giving you more time, not taking away time, okay? And so, again, make sure you go through the news items on the homepage, go through the Getting Started module and the Introduction module under the Course Content tab, and then get started with the Chapter 1 pre-class lecture videos to be prepared for Monday, January 25th's class. And then, of course, you're also going to be downloading your notes as well as your classwork for Chapter 1 and bringing those packets, note packets, to class as appropriate. And then you're going to continue with that ritual for each chapter. And I'll have each chapter's module set up the same way that I've got chapter 1 set up. You've got your videos in one spot, then you've got all your notes and your classwork in another spot, and then any activities that are not graded that go along, you'll find those underneath the notes and classwork. Okay, so I'll try to set up each chapter similar to how I've set up chapter 1, so you get used to how things are arranged. And so another tab, in addition to the course content tab, that's helpful is the tools tab. And you just click the drop down menu if you want to go directly to the calendar, if you want to go to the class list to find out one of your, if you've got one of your group members that's in your breakout room that you've been working on problems with, if you want to send them an email, like I thought I wrote down the complete answer to problem number 4 on chapter 1, part 1 classwork, but I didn't get it all. Did you get all of that? And if so, could you email me a picture of that? So if you need to email one of your class members and through eLearn, you can go on this little tool drop down menu and click on class list. And then you click on that particular person, and then automatically you're sent to eLearn email to send that person an email. So if I want to send Emily a message, I just click on Emily's name, send email, and then it'll take me to eLearn email to send her an email message. And there it is. Now I can send Emily an email. Other things under tools that may be helpful, in addition to calendar, class list, there's also a link that'll just take you directly to email as well. And then the activities drop-down menu. If you want to check your grades, you just click on grades, and it'll take you to the eLearn gradebook. And so that's all I wanted to say about our eLearn site for right now. Again, read your news items, go to the course content tab, go over the overview module, the getting started module, and the introduction module. Then you'll be ready to forge into chapter 1 and reading and downloading your notes and classwork, and then watching the pre-class videos, starting with the math review videos and then the chapter 1 videos. For math review right now, the only videos I want you to focus on are scientific notation using a scientific calculator and significant figures. Okay. The other math review videos, I'll be letting you know as we get into chapter 1 and 2 more deeply. Then I may assign you to watch a few of the other math review videos once we get to those topics. Okay, so just to stop for a minute and look at the chat box again to see what new questions you've posted to me. Additional help outside of class. Very good question, Laura. If you need additional help outside of class, should you email me to set up a meeting during your office hours? And so one thing that I need to do for you, I need to send you another news item. I need to post another news item and send you another email after class. I've set up a separate Teams site just for office hours. And so I need to give you that particular office hours team site. And so if you go to instructor information to see my schedule, Where I have posted virtual office hours, like on Tuesday between 11 and 1, and Tuesday between 4 and 6, and Friday between 1 and 3. Those are the hours that I've set to be my virtual office hours. If you can attend my virtual office hours during these times that are shown in yellow, now shown here in orange on Monday, some Mondays I'm going to have meetings between 2 and 3. And then there may be one Monday out of the month that I also have a meeting between 3:30 and 5. But on Mondays that I don't have a meeting between 3:30 and 5, I'll also be available for virtual office hours. So if you can attend my virtual office hours at these times that are listed here on my schedule, you don't have to schedule. You just drop in to the Teams site, because I'll be online in Teams at those particular times. Now, if none of these times work for you, for example, if you want to see me Thursday at 11 a.m., Thursday at 11 a.m., I'm not in class. It's just a white space there. So I'm available. So if Thursday at 11 a.m. will work for you, then you send me an email and say, I can't come to your office, your virtual office hours on Tuesday and Friday, but I really need to see you Thursday at 11. Can you meet with me? I will say, of course, yes. And so I will set up an appointment with you outside of my virtual office hours. So any of these times that are just blank and white, that means I'm not in class. It's outside of my virtual office hours, but I will work with you. If you want to meet with me on a Sunday in Teams to ask me some questions, you email me and say, Dr. Cook, I'm really stuck on some things and I didn't get a chance to come to your Friday between 1 and 3 virtual office hour. Can you meet with me for about 30 minutes Sunday evening at 4 o'clock? I will do everything I can to accommodate your request. And then that way, you'll still come to that same Teams virtual office hour site, but you will have just set a special appointment time with me. And to get a special appointment time outside of these yellow boxes, then you do need to email me. But if you want to see me at noon on Tuesday, you don't have to email me and set up an appointment. You can show up every Tuesday at noon to get help. If that time works for you, you say, hey, I'm gonna go see Dr. Cook in the virtual Teams office to ask questions every Tuesday at 12, then you don't have to make an appointment. You just show up. Okay? Does that answer your question, Laura?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome. So Abigail asks, is there anything we need to do before we start the homework? What I would suggest that you do before starting the homework is to watch both of the lecture videos for chapter 1. That's just my suggestion. But if you feel that you want to go ahead and forge into it on your own without watching the lecture videos, then you can. But if you're figuring, oh, I'm having difficulty with this, maybe I do need to watch the lecture videos before jumping into the homework, or maybe I do need to go to class next week first and do these chapter classwork assignments in class with my team and my group in my breakout room. Then next weekend, I'm going to do chapter 1 homework because we've gone through all the classwork problems together as a team in my group, as well as a class. Now I'm feeling more confident about chapter 1. I'm going to wait till next weekend to do chapter 1 homework. And as a student, that's what I would do. I would first watch my pre-class videos and go through the note packets. And then I'll go through class next week and doing the classwork with my group. Then starting Thursday of next week, that's when I work on the homework and quizzes for chapter 1. But if you feel confident that you want to dive into the homework before doing the classwork with your team, then you are more than welcome to do so. I'm a very methodical type person, so I like to always set up a ritual of how I go about doing things. But if you feel that you want to just dive into chapter 1, especially if you've already taken a high school chemistry class, then chapter 1 may just be a review for you. So you may want to go ahead and dive into the homework and the quizzes before doing all the classwork stuff and the pre-class video watching and all of that. But if you don't feel very confident in classifying matter, those topics, and you haven't taken a chemistry class before, then you may want to wait till this time next week before starting the chapter 1 homework and quizzes. Okay? Is that okay? Did I answer your question, Abigail? So to answer that question, I would watch the chapter 1 lecture videos at least before starting the homework. Okay. Any other questions in the chat box? I think that's it. Again, as we're talking, if you come up with some questions, you can simply type them in the chat box. So now that we've gone through the basic things on our eLearn site, and now we know how class is going to flow next week. To get ready for Monday's class, we want to make sure we've watched the significant figures and scientific notation math review videos, that we've watched the chapter 1 part 1 lecture video, and that we've got our notes and our classwork for part 1 of chapter 1 downloaded. Then we're ready for Monday. Okay. And so one of the things that we want to tackle as far as math review related on next week are going to be the topics of how to use a scientific calculator, and also scientific notation and significant figures. So in the math review packet that's found in eLearn under course content for chapter 1, before we get to any type of math review questions or problems, what I've done is giving you some review information. And a lot of this first information on the metric system in units may be a review of things that you've learned in a past math class. What's first shown here are the base units for the metric system. The base units for length, mass, time, temperature, and the amount of substance are shown here. And the abbreviation for those base units are shown. So for length, the base unit is the meter in the metric system, not like in the old English system of units where the base unit is the inch. And then for mass, we have kilogram, for time, second, for temperature, the Kelvin, and then for the amount of substance, mole. Now, in using a scientific calculator, you may say, well, what type of scientific calculator do I need? Well, I am not particular, but what I find is something as simple as a TI-30X will suffice for this class. Now, if you're going on to take calculus classes, and if you're planning on taking general chemistry, organic chemistry, things of that nature, then you may want to go a little bit higher, like a TI-84. But if you're not taking a calculus class in the future, higher level chemistry classes in the future, then I think a TI-30X that costs $15 is good enough. But if you are taking some higher level courses that may require more functions, then yes, Laura, TI-84 will also suffice for this class. But I'm even saying you don't even have to have anything that fancy to be okay in this class. I think, how much do TI-84s cost? Like $100? Does anyone know how much a TI-84 costs?
I think they're like 80.
Like 80?
Yeah, I had to buy one last semester for statistics.
Okay, so you can either spend $80. That's a good investment now if you're taking pre-calculus and and calculus and trig, and if you're going to go and take general chemistry 1, general chemistry 2, organic chemistry, then by all means buy your TI-84 now. That way you don't have to buy it later. But if this is the higher, if you're not taking anything higher than college math or college algebra, introductory chemistry, $15. This will suffice. Okay? So I'm going to let you make that call on what type of calculator you get. If right now, hey, I know we all sometimes we're on a budget. Hey, if this is all I can afford right now, this will get you through the semester. I promise you. Okay? I've been using this calculator for years, teaching this class. As you can see how old and grungy it is, but it still works. And I think that I may have paid $10, $12 for it when I bought it 10 years ago. And TI's, Texas Instrument calculators, last forever. So if you're not taking calculus until next year, go ahead and buy your TI-84 this year. In 10 years from now, you'll see that TI-84 will still work for you, okay? Once you go off and get your job, you'll still be using your TI-84. Because they do. Texas Instruments is a great product. I do recommend the Texas Instruments calculator. They are a great product. Like I said, I've had this TI-30X, I know, for at least 10 years. And I only spent $12 for it. So if you want to just go with the simple TI-30, go for that. But if you know you're going to need something more fancier like a TI-84 later on, go ahead and buy the TI-84 now, because if you're going to be using it again later in a more complex chemistry or math class, then yeah, go ahead and buy it now. But if you're not, I would say go with the TI-30X. Okay? Yeah, I can imagine 20 years of TI-84. Yeah, they last forever. So a TI calculator is a great investment, especially if you know you're going to need a more complex calculator for a higher level class later on in your college career. Go ahead and buy the TI-84 now. So you're not buying a TI-30X now, and then next year you're spending money again on a TI-84. Just go ahead and buy the TI-84 now if you can. That way you've got one calculator that's going to last you for the next 20 years. Great questions. Any others? And so just going over the math review packet, we go over a review of the metric system first. And in addition to giving you the base units, we also give you the prefixes, the Greek prefixes for each unit that's added on to the base unit. So like for length, the base unit is the meter, but then you've also got prefixes that can go along with that base unit to give you other units. Like kilo, you can have the kilometer or the millimeter or the centimeter. And so what this table does is tells you what those prefixes, kilo, centa, milli, and many, many others, how those are related to the base unit. So a kilometer, the multiplier is 1,000. So 1,000 meters is a kilometer. So 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. 1 centimeter is 100th of a meter. 1 millimeter is 1,000th of a meter, so on and so forth. And so this table is very helpful because it gives you the prefixes and show you how they are related to the base unit. And then it gives you an example here, which helps you understand it better. And these prefixes can go with any base unit. Like the base unit of mass is the kilogram. And so a kilogram is 1,000 grams. And so therefore a centigram is 100th of a gram. A milliliter is 1,000th of a liter. So it takes 1,000 milliliters to be equivalent to 1 liter, so on and so forth. So that's a very helpful table as well. That's metric system related. And then another unit that's not a base unit, but is a very important unit, is the unit of volume. And volume, if you think about it in terms of a cube, volume is going to be equal to the length of a cube times the width times the height. So if you have a cube that's 1 centimeter in length, 1 centimeter in width, and 1 centimeter in height, then the volume is going to be equal to 1 centimeter times 1 centimeter times 1 centimeter. 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. But the unit, you've got to take the units, and each unit is 1 centimeter. So each unit centimeter, there's no exponent, so it's understood to be 1. So each length is 1 centimeter to the 1 power. So when you multiply those 1 centimeters by each other, remember the math rule? See, this is where all the math applications come in. And you've learned these math applications way back when, and somewhere during your 1st through 12th grade education, but we just have to refresh our minds of those, okay? So when you multiply, you add the exponents. So when you multiply the numbers, you add the exponents. So taking that math rule into account, we add the exponents. 1 plus 1 being 2, 2 plus 1 being 3. So our new exponent for our volume result is an exponent of 3. So our volume, therefore, is 1 centimeter cubed. And it turns out that 1 centimeter cubed is equal to 1 milliliter. We also call that a cubic centimeter. Those of you that are majoring in a medical field, like nursing, you'll hear the term cc's. You know, give that patient 10 cc's. That means give them 10 cubic centimeters. That's the volume of medicine that you're told to give to the patient. So cubic centimeter, also called a cc, is equivalent to a milliliter. And so then you can see how they've taken that 1 cube, and now it's just 1 cube amongst a total of 1,000 cubic centimeters. And so here you've got new lengths. For this cube, the length is 1 decimeter, the height is 1 decimeter, and the width is 1 decimeter, giving you a volume of 1 cubic decimeter. So therefore, a decimeter is bigger than a centimeter. And a meter is bigger than a decimeter. So therefore, the volume of this bigger cube is going to be 1,000 cubic centimeters. And then moving on to the largest cube of these three, this cube has length, width, and height dimensions of 1 meter. So its volume is 1 cubic meter, which is equivalent to 100,000 cubic centimeters. I'm sorry, 1 million. So you can see the different sizes of each of the cubes, and knowing that as we go from one to the other, our volume is increasing. So to go from the tiniest cube to the one in the middle, we have a 1,000-fold increase in the volume. To go from the middle cube to the largest cube, we also see a volume increase of 1,000-fold, because 1,000 times 1,000 gives us 1 million. And so now that we've kind of gone over a review of metric system units, the next thing in this packet is scientific notation, and you're asked to watch the videos in the math review related to scientific notation. And so scientific notation is just a shorthand way to write a really, really, really large number or a really, really, really small number. So in these two examples, the first one is a really, really small number. And the last one is a very, very large number. So in converting this very, very small number into scientific notation, we move the decimal point from its original position until it's right there between the first two non-zero digits. And then we count how many spaces we moved. We moved it 9 spaces. So in scientific notation, this number is 4.23. And then we add a multiplication sign and the base number 10. And because we moved it 9 spaces, the exponent is going to be a number 9. And because this is a small number, then there needs to be a negative sign in front of the 9 exponent. So in scientific notation, this number is 4.23 times 10 to the negative 9. On the other hand, for a very large number, and you can see there is no decimal shown initially in this very large number. So when there's not, you'll put the decimal at the end. And then you'll move that decimal until it's between the first two non-zero digits in the number. So in scientific notation, this would be 8.75. Then we put the multiplication sign and the base 10 number. And then the exponent will be the number of times we moved the decimal, and we moved it 11 times. And because this is a large number, there's no negative sign in front of the exponent. And so that is how you transform a number from what we call regular form or long form into short form, which we also call scientific notation. So we're at 12:20, end of our class for today. I've kind of started you on this math review packet. Read over the information concerning significant figures. And then don't worry about density and temperature conversions and unit conversions right now. I don't think we get to those concepts until later on in chapter 1. So we'll be talking about unit conversions probably not until Wednesday of next week. So, but for this weekend, to get ready for Monday, read over the significant figures information in this packet, and then start working on the math review questions, and there are 6 of them. And then to start class off Monday, I'm going to go through the answers to numbers 1 through 6 in the math review, talk about those a little bit, and I'm going to be working. You can see in 1 through 6, there are multiple parts. I may work the first 3 of them with you, and then I'll send you to your breakout rooms with your groups to finish the other parts. And so we'll probably do these in the first half of the course. I'll do the first few of them with you, and then I'll send you to your meeting rooms to finish the remaining. So we'll do something of that nature. But we're going to pay close attention to numbers 5 and 6 here to make sure that you are inputting numbers into your scientific calculator correctly. So make sure in class on Monday that you not only bring your notes and your math review worksheet and your classwork worksheet for part 1 of chapter 1, also bring your scientific calculator to class on Monday. Now, you may have lab with me today at 2 or tomorrow at 2, or you may have another instructor at another time. But before your lab meeting, make sure you go to the lab website. I'm sorry, the lab eLearn site. And here's our lab eLearn site link here. Make sure you read through the welcome message and the other news items on the lab site before your lab meeting. And then you go to the course content tab. And week 1 is classifying matter. Download and read the classifying matter information. And then also your lab report sheet. Make sure you have that downloaded and ready for your lab meeting. And you're going to be watching videos and then filling out the data sheet with your lab partners in your lab. Your lab instructor will go over some more detailed information about the lab in your lab meeting. So have a good rest of your day. And if you come up with any other questions, just send me an email through eLearn email. And I'll see you in lab if you're in one of my lab sections. If not, I will see you Monday at 11.
Bye. Have a good weekend.
Goodbye. You have a good weekend as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good